Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The New Norm. I'm Selena Hill. Today, I have the pleasure to speak with Monique Idlett-Mosley, who is an entrepreneur, investor, and philanthropist with decades of experience in both the tech and entertainment industries. In 2017, she founded a $25 million investment fund that focuses on minority and women-led startups. Plus, she recently started a new career journey as a talk show host on Chatter, which airs on Fox Soul. But before we get into all of that, I want to start, Monique, by getting your thoughts on the civil unrest throughout the country and your new social justice initiative. How are you coping with the fact that we've seen a recent wave of Black and brown unarmed people shot by either hands of police or choked or shot down by white vigilantes, which has obviously sparked all of these protests? How do you feel about that?
So I feel two different ways, right? I feel that our nation has denied the citizens here of real history, and I'm very inspired by the Gen Zers and the millennials being some of the first generations that have had access to truth. And the first thing they do with truth is say, we will not be okay with any of this. We will use our voice and we're going to change these systemic issues. And so unfortunately, when change comes, there's typically, you're met with people who don't want change because this is a productive financial business model. Racism has been earning billions of dollars since they created it. We didn't create it, they created it. And, it's sad too, right? We have lost, any of us, I grew up in New Jersey in income-based housing. From a small child, I saw the lack of effective communication between police officers and our communities. The fact that because of the color of our skin, we get judged and prejudged and accused. And, it's so crazy because I was watching a documentary and I was like, is this just the way of people who think that they are greater than other cultures, that every single thing, even if it's extinct, they will murder it just for fun? They will call animals their children. What is this mindset that you get off on having people oppressed? And so for me to see all of you, these young people of all races out here, first of all, they're being attacked. They are peaceful protesters, and that is an amendment. That is our right, and they should be fighting for that, period. It's sad to me that we have to keep losing so many of our people unjustly, but we have to have these conversations. We also have to stop apologizing, and we also have to tell people we don't have the answers for what they put upon us. Stop asking us to answer your problem. We don't have the solution for your problem. You go deal with that. What we're going to deal with is building our community up and maybe educating you. But to say that we have to solve racism when we didn't create it, no. This is 2020. So guess what? Nothing's going to change if we don't keep doing this. And we cannot let up. We can't let up. We can't stop because they're uncomfortable. We've been uncomfortable. How about that?
How about that? And when it comes to change, you're not just about the talk. You're not just about protesting in the streets. You actually started an initiative that I want to talk about, Until Freedom. You've partnered with.
I didn't start that. Yeah. To me, I was a part of them coming up with the name and then building out the business model. I'm the board chair. But the four of them are the founders: Tamika, Linda, my son, and Angelo.
And they were all a part of the New York Justice League. So let's talk about Until Freedom. This is a social justice initiative. What is the purpose of it? And what is your role that you're playing in it?
So Until Freedom is so special to me because these four founders, I have yet to meet young people who aren't just talking about it, they are on the front line. So there's four pillars for Until Freedom. And that is rapid response, So literally they went from Kentucky to Indianapolis to Minnesota. Now they're back in New York, and now they're headed back to Kentucky. So we have the rapid response pillar. We have the training pillar, because it is super important to teach. These young people are fiery, and we need to teach them how to protest properly, peacefully, but also get the political change as well, and also how to have national alliances. We can't keep having in our community a million voices in the same city. We need you guys to align, and we need you guys to communicate and talk. We need to be pushing towards the same mission. So, and then we have a criminal justice pillar. Okay, and then we have, so training academy, and also the education and gun violence. Okay, so under the training academy is the education, and then we have the gun violence, which is clearly we didn't bring these guns from Europe into our communities, but we have access to them, and we really need to help people understand the trauma behind gun violence. So those are our 4 pillars. Tamika and the other 3 are super busy right now. We are curating committees. I am the board chair. We just brought on Snoop Dogg wanted to be on our board, so we just announced that. And I'm super.
I actually wanted to talk about that because I saw him announce that on Instagram Live at my son. He almost said it very cavalier, but he said he donated $10,000 and he is sitting on the board of Until Freedom. And my son went on to say that Snoop Dogg actually contacted him. Do you have any insight on how this came about? Because we know Snoop Dogg, obviously, he's a huge figure, a huge public figure, and his voice goes so far.
You know, first of all, big shout out to him. Thank you, because I think that it is time for the culture to get the support back from these icons who have made it in the entertainment industry based on the culture supporting them. And maybe they haven't necessarily gotten out of there. And so he understands his accountability. I think that even if we look back at his music, right? His music always had messaging in it. I mean, he had some fun stuff, but he still always had messaging. And as we've watched him grow into this man of wisdom, of maturity, he has definitely been a voice. He has definitely called out the things that are not unjust. So it's naturally just a right fit. It was just a natural fit. They know each other. So he called them and he's like, listen, I need to be a part of this, but not just from the perspective of me. I need to be a part of it so I can make the people I know accountable, and not just from a hashtag, a repost, but here, I'm going to kick it off with some money. And now I'm going to go back and tell the other community that I have access to, we need to be talking about Until Freedom. Because also if you go to untilfreedom.com, you can sign up, you can get newsletters, you can learn about the things that are out there and kind of filter it, because all news media isn't our friends and aren't telling the stories properly. So we're taking that accountability. And honestly, for me, I want everybody to feel accountable through Until Freedom, and to support it, and to understand that even if you haven't personally had the experience, that every second, now all of a sudden, it's not just Black and brown people. These police are beating the mess. They are violating Caucasian people right now for just the simple fact that they believe in humanity. And they do believe that Black lives matter too.
I mean, Monique, you actually spent years in the entertainment industry. You were a producer on Empire. You actually worked with some of the biggest stars, Kanye West, Justin Bieber. What role do entertainers in particular play when it comes to activism? And do you think that they're doing enough?
Ooh, so 100 transparent. I don't believe anyone who doesn't believe in something should participate in it just because they have a big following. This is a generation of people who are informed and educated, and you can't just sell to people anymore. You cannot manipulate people. And so I say to all people, and more importantly, people who have large platforms, who may be celebrities, and especially in the music industry, that not only do you have an accountability, but make sure you're choosing a lane that you actually are passionate about, and it feels good to you, and that you're really gonna be behind, because these are things that need real participation, and it can't be you showing up as your stage name. This is a playing ground where who you are does not matter. Your platform matters, and everyone in the room is equal because we're fighting for the same thing. So if you're prepared to come and get special attention and move people out the room, that's not going to happen. So get involved in the things that you know you care about. And I'm not gonna lie, like watching the funeral and watching the celebrity response of all of this stuff, it's painful to me. I hope that the intent is honest and authentic. And I think we should always challenge people. And we have to make our culture accountable too. Stop just calling up big names because it's trendy. Get in alignment with people who are willing to do the work and are willing to actually take a sacrifice. When we talk about Rain Ventures, I don't have any limited partners and LPs. Every VC fund has what they call LPs. Those are the investors. So whoever owns a fund, that's not their money. They're investing other people's money. Rain Ventures is my personal money. I took my personal, all of my personal liquid asset. And I said, I'm going to give it back to our community the best way I know how. And that's to give them some ownership and to teach them and let them believe in their entrepreneurial ideas. So my question to every platform is, what are you sacrificing? Because if you're not sacrificing, this don't mean anything to you.
Thank you so much for that. I actually wanted to talk more about Rain Ventures. Again, that's your VC fund. You started it with a partner. You guys have been investing in women and minority-led businesses. Post a COVID-19 world, what type of businesses do you think you would be apt to invest in now? Like, what's grabbing your attention?
Erica and I, our tagline is about the future. So I think no matter what, we've always tried to invest in companies that can pivot easily, that are solving super amazing problems, and that can show the difference of why someone would actually be able to use that versus, something else. I tell people all the time, like the actual process does not change from an investment perspective, the access changes. So, because we invest in people of color and women, it doesn't mean we make it easier for you. It means we expect you to show up and be the best that you can be because the process is still the same. We're just letting you into the room because you're not getting into the rooms. And if you do get into the room, they're talking about you can have a $500 or something, and then someone else who isn't even as qualified gets the $1 million, who doesn't even have an idea. So the process is still the same, but even like for now, like we have a couple of portfolio companies that are doing that actually because of COVID, they actually are doing better now. And so to me, that lets us know that we are selecting portfolio companies, not just solving problems for today, but that also are looking towards the future and tomorrow. And so business for us hasn't changed. We're still on phones every day with founders. We're still investing, we're still looking for those right companies. Now, when COVID started, our first priority was nurturing and making sure our portfolio companies were okay. And making sure they had information and just mental health checks. This has been hard. None of us have ever experienced anything like this. And I think it's okay for us to say we're vulnerable, but when we talk about COVID, I tell people all the time, everyone should have already had a digital platform, some type of e-commerce concept, because this has been around, like not COVID, but the idea of getting to your customers and reaching them where they are, it's here. It's on the phone. It's been like that for a long time. And so fortunately for Rain Ventures, our portfolio companies understood that. So we haven't had any company shut down ever. So thank God.
That's really interesting, Monique. What is it that, how was it that you guys were choosing these companies for you to say that they're doing even better? I read that you said somewhere that you look for companies and founders that have that it factor. What is it that you really look for?
We look for founders kind of the same way the entertainment and music industry kind of looks for like that potential A-lister, right? When you walk into a room, the way we carry ourselves, the confidence, because when we're seed stage, so we're usually the first or second investor in after an angel round. So we are at the riskiest stage. So it's not so much the company we're betting on the team, the founder. Can that founder, can he or she go through the tough times? Do they know how to pivot? Do they have a great advisor team? Are they solving a real problem? Can they show a financial model? We're always looking at how we spend a lot of time with a founder before we invest in them. We put them through our own accelerator process. Let's see how you deal with people critiquing your work. Let's see what you would think your boardroom should look like. Okay, here's some real life problems. Are you going to shut down or are you going to go harder? So for us, we look for that it factor of being special, never giving up. And we put up a nice bumper system for them, just like in the music industry. Oh, you need PR? We got you. We'll get that for you. You need some legal advice? We got you. We have you. Our community needs the bumper system because other cultures have had it and continue to have it. We have to stop making people and founders and women and people of color feel bad for the startup stage of business. How do they get to Wall Street or be acquired if they can't get to step B?
There you go. Speaking of pivoting in businesses, you've been pivoting your entire career journey. You started out in sales, you got into business management, the entertainment industry, which we talked about, and tech, because I know that your fund also focuses a lot on tech businesses. And now you're a talk show host on Chatter on Fox Soul, the latest pivot. How did this come about? And what is it that even drives you to say, you know what, I want to be a talk show host next?
Thank you, Selena, for even understanding that there is a constant, consistent pivot for me. So for me in my career, I've always taken pride on kind of being the first in something. Like when I started my career at USA Today, I was the youngest, the first ever Black female executive in a senior executive position. I took pride in that. That's not what they hired me for, by the way. They hired me for a junior executive. And I got there and I was like, I want the job that you're supposed to have 20 years experience for because I'm going to learn it. And so for me, I've always been a student first. I don't care what position I've been in. I'm always trying to learn. I believe the evolution of self never stops. I've always wanted to be on the forefront of something before. To me, it's more interesting to be innovative and do something for the first time than just keep repeating something after someone else where you start getting comfortable following a formula versus trying to solve real problems. So for me, the idea of, okay, you know what? I'm going to be an executive at a #1 company. Ooh, learn everything. Okay, you know what? I'm going to bridge the gap of corporate America and talent. Okay, great. So they'll do the right partnerships. Okay, now I'm going to be in the music industry and teach talent how to be real bosses from my corporate experience. Okay, great. Wow, I got my master's and now I'm as a millionaire and me and Tim have all this stuff. No one's ever taught us about angel investing. You know what? I don't want the people behind me to have these same issues. Let me go out here and start a tech fund. So everything I've done has always been solution-based. And then the talk show, it's about now I have this voice. I have these decades of experience, pivots, this, that. Oh my goodness, the cultures that progress is because of access to information. Let me share everything that I know because that would be a crime if we don't help everybody else win. I want everyone to win. And in order to do so, we got to share information. Well, guess what? I'll be that student. I'll go out here and learn it for everybody and I'll go share the information. Thank God he's allowed me to do that.
I'm so glad that you brought up Tim. If people don't know, your ex-husband is Timberland, and you actually featured him on Chatter. You guys had a very candid conversation about co-parenting. Why was it important for you to sort of open up the audience and let them into your personal life like that?
Because I remember the first year of our divorce, and we still shared all of our holidays together, and he had a girlfriend, and I told him, bring her to the thing. I always cook every holiday. My mother and father, when they were divorced, my father and his wife always came to our house. My mother welcomed them. And so at the end of the day, Tim and I recognized that it wasn't about us. It was about continuing to raise healthy children. And when we were getting phone calls, when people heard about it the first time, they were like, that's weird. That's crazy. And Tim and I called each other like, wow, people really do use children as like some little dangling thing because of emotional things between two adults. And then we fast forward and these young children who are innocent become very difficult adults because of what their parents put them through. So for the first time ever, Tim and I met in our 20s, and we were inseparable since then, right? Until our divorce. We have never publicly dealt with anything. We took pride in being private and protecting our family structure and just kind of just being normal people. And that was the first time ever because it was that important of a conversation for our culture. We needed our culture, our women, our men to know, stop using children. You are affecting them with your trauma. Get over it, put them first, and let's be healthy because they become adults and they start repeating the same thing. And by the way, we'll say it to you together so you're not hearing it individually because we stand in unison with this. Let's be better for our future generations. That's super important to me, Tim.
Oh yeah, and it was a powerful conversation. I was very grateful that you guys had that. It seems like since COVID, since this year actually, you've just taken off. What advice would you share with other leaders, no matter what sector they're in, about not only surviving in COVID-19, but post-COVID, because we're in a very different world?
I think that instead of falling victim to woe is me or the stress of will I survive, you have to flip that mindset. You know, Selena, like when you and I first met, like I learned from you all. You all are younger, but I don't feel like I know more than you. I feel like we can both be, a mutual respect of exchanging information. And you inspire me. And leaders need to understand that just because they're the leader, you also have to serve in order to lead. And you have to allow yourself to be led by others too, and to be a student and to learn. If we can start bridging these gaps of leaders, we won't keep having this misunderstanding and this kind of like hierarchy thing. Because at the end of the day, yourself, you pivot. Let's talk about that. We need to help people understand that it's not just the experienced people. You all are teaching us how to deal with things. And we need these leaders to understand that young people need a voice because they're the ones who are willing to be active and make change. Us as leaders need to sit down and allow all voices to be heard. Because through all voices being heard, you will no longer focus on what is wrong. You will actually you'll hear the solutions of how you make it right. So for me, it's all about unity and collective voice, always.
Mo, you have so much going on. What is next? Are you thinking about publishing another book? Are you just focused on Chatter right now and Until Freedom? What do you have coming up next?
So for me, it's about, as you know, I have the Art of Collaboration, and we're in the process of finalizing the trademark, which it looks like it's going to be done. And so for me, through this, we have seen what collaborative efforts can do. It makes change. And so I'm going to finish my Art of Collaboration toolkit, which has a book in it and some steps and some things. I'm also going to do my individual podcasts. And people have been asking me to we love you on a collective voice, but we also want to hear your voice too. So I think through the Art of Collaboration, I will have my voice also with someone else each time for a different thing so that we can show the example of collaborative effort. And I want to start highlighting all you young, amazing people. I need the people I sit with to understand the importance of hearing and also learning from the people that will also one day be our leaders and who we'll have to vote for. I need them to get to know them young. I need us to come together and cultivate you all as younger people and share our wisdom and then also know what you guys need from us. And so I think the Art of Collaboration is that next step for me, where I'm going to go ahead and just get right into it and commit to it, because I haven't committed to it yet. But I'm committed.
Well, I know it's going to be powerful. I know it's going to be impactful, and I'm looking forward to it as well. Thank you so much, Monique, and more power to you. Thank you for your work, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, honey, and congratulations on this new platform that you're doing. And thank you so much. I have to tell you, thank you for highlighting not the trendy stuff for us as the people behind the scenes, because we need our young people to also see that this is an option and that it breeds success and that it can also breed legacy, that it always doesn't have to be sports or some type of celebrity status, because they all can't be that. So thank you, because you're a rock star too, and our young girls and boys need to see that.